Mic still up here. This one right here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, what's up? Man, where's the energy? What up, man? Let's do this. All right, before we jump in, there is a chip that I get the privilege to be able to give out, and this guy, y'all know him. He's an enforcer. He's a 24/7 closer. Probably half of y'all at least talked to him. He was your voice. It was his voice that you heard whenever you came into treatment. And he answers the phones all the time. And is really, in case you don't know that the percentages or the chances of people walking into long-term recovery, I mean, aren't great. They're just and we'll talk more about why they're not great. And it's a very simple solution that we can all practice to make sure that we get the outcomes that we're looking for. But in general, I mean, I went through 10 times. I can remember 10 treatment centers. That's just the only ones that I can remember. There were probably more. And, some of y'all have done 10 in a year. I mean, y'all in and out of detoxes and everything and have been through so many. So you realize how difficult this process is, and to be able to, philosophically get your mind around it, and then to commit to the process that'll actually produce it. And then even fewer that come in and do what I refer to as one and done, and come in on their very first treatment center, lock in, get it, don't have to go out and do any more research and development, lock into it. I mean, that is even, I mean, I don't even know what the percentage would be on that, but it would be in the, 0.00000 whatever percent of people that walk in and truly do a one and done. Fun fact about this individual, we used to get high together back in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and he stole a bag of crystal methamphetamines from me back in 1998, quarter gram. He still, to this day, owes me $25. He will not pay me. It makes me so mad. I feel like he wants to charge it to the game, but I'm like, I never agreed to that. And he actually has no recollection of that. That might not even be a true story. In my mind, it happened. Might have been his brother. I don't know. But seriously, this guy has come in. He has held the line. He has walked this thing out. I was teaching group. It is his very first group that he walked in on. He came in and he had this haircut that we refer to as the Delta swoosh, Mississippi Delta, something like Justin Bieber, something like Donald Trump. It's weird. It's crazy. And he wore it better than anybody. And he came in and locked in, sat down in the back of the group room, and he locked in, and that was it. I mean, the rest of the rap, man. I mean, he went and did this thing, crushed it. Left, I mean, I wouldn't say like it was linear. I mean, we had our moments. I mean, I think I fired him no less than 10 times, and he came back. We're still really good friends. I was just the best man in his wedding, and this guy holds the line, drives change, has directly impacted more lives than he would ever be able to count. I promise you that. I mean, we don't even have metrics for the amount of lives and people that he has directly impacted. If you guys would stand to your feet, he is deserving of a standing ovation. David Hobbs on 6 years, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Love you, baby. Let's see if that thing's on.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How we doing? Man, it's a blessing to be here, standing on this stage, celebrating 6 years clean today. Man, something we always say. We say, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? Well, I got here at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and a lot of things happened for me to be able to come here. For one, I had to be put on the news because I I didn't want to come. I got put on the news 5 days straight. Let's go. That's right. I got arrested as an Avenger on 9/11. I mean, you can't make it up. I swear you can't, right? And but like I got here at 2 a.m. Like Trey said, he was teaching the first group of that Monday. And when I first got here, I was like, man, the judge said I had to go to rehab. He didn't say I had to stay. I was like, I'm gonna do 2 weeks. I'm going to get my car out of because the police seized my car. Like I'm going to get another car and I'm going back doing what I was doing. And 2 weeks in, I'm like, I'm gonna give it another 2 weeks, right? And just time kept trickling on, and then it got to the point where I liked the life I had rather than the one that I've been living the last 19 years of my life. As I'm sure as all of you, we all have created a lot of destruction in our addiction, right? Hurt a lot of people. And something I always used to say, I'm not hurting anybody but myself, but that's not true. We're really hurting the people that love us. Like the late nights and all the nights that my mom cried over me, not knowing where I was at, whether I was in jail or whatever. Like it's just crazy, right? And God will bless us and give us things when we're on the right path. And like Trey said, he's hired and fired me, about as many times as he's been in treatment, right? So, I made some mistakes professionally. I've never relapsed, but, I've shot myself in the foot a couple times. But my life started dramatically changing probably about 4 years into my recovery. But that was my fault. There was times where I got off spiritually, things like that. God will give you the things he wants for you when he knows you can handle them. He's not going to give it to you if you're just going to burn it all down, right? So if you're in a season of waiting or you're wondering like, God, when is it my turn? Like, just look at yourself spiritually. Are you doubting? Are you doing the things you need to do? Or is that you still get that one thing that you're hiding from God, right? Like it's crazy. We can sit there, we can be praying and repenting and giving him everything, but we're not going to give him this though. We're going to hold on to that, right? We're still in agreement with that one sin, but we got to give it all to him, and like, I never thought I was going to get to 6 years. I was just trying to get to tomorrow, and time has a way of trickling on, man. You'll get the things that you want. You just have to continue with your process, This program was a lot smaller when I got here. I think there was 29 people. We all fit in the medical office at 256, men and women, right? The way the program has grown is just crazy. But the one thing that really helped me is who I surrounded myself with in my apartment, at the office, right? Like if I'm trying to go to North Carolina, I'm not going to take 85 South, right? Like you want to go in the direction with people that you want to go in. Like people talking about, man, I can't wait to sneak out and go get high, and you're trying to be sober. You don't want to hang around those people. Like you got to separate yourself from that, and anyways, I just want to encourage y'all, man. Like the things I have, the person you see before me, that is not who I was when I got here. I had nothing and no one. Your life can change if you want it. Question is, how bad do you want it, right? All right, that's all I got. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all.
Perfect. Love you. Hobbs said a lot right there, and as he was talking, it brought back memories of his journey, and it's worth doing a case study, because in anything, you hear it in churches, you hear it in people's lives, and somebody blows up, or all of a sudden you see like explosive growth inside of a company or inside of a church, or in somebody's life. All of a sudden you just see them like, man, they're being successful and they're doing all this stuff and they're making this money or they're having this huge impact, and you're like, well, what's going on? Well, God's blessing. Well, yeah. What? Okay, but like, is there something that we can look at and like say like what's he blessing? And I'll tell you, like with Hobbs' life, I'm telling you, that's one and done. All right, I'm just saying, like, I didn't do that. Hobbs' dad, as far as I know, is still getting high. His mom is working and was a good mom to him. He had a grandmother that loved him, and he's got a brother that was still getting high a few months ago. I don't know if he is right now or not. So what I'm trying to do is paint the picture of like, he didn't come, from Leave It to Beaver and what I'm saying, perfect little family over there, where he had this picture perfect model of like, okay, you go to rehab and then you get up and you go to work at 8 o'clock every morning. Like, every reason of why it should not have worked. You got 20, 25 years of uninterrupted drug use. You know what I'm saying? Outside of whenever he would go to jail. And you're not learning anything in there. Guys, check your phones and make sure they're off. Okay? Or on silent. He didn't have all of what you would say that should have been a recipe to walk in here and do it. And so you have to step back and say, like, what did this guy do? Okay? And first of all, he's embarrassed. You got the whole world laughing at you. You just went global viral. So some of y'all that don't know that, he kind of mentioned this like Captain America thing. Like, look up Captain America, David Hobbs, or Captain America arrested, and you're going to find a picture of David Hobbs that got picked up in Tokyo. They got picked up by the Miami Herald. They got picked up by ESPN. They got picked up by the New York Post. Every major publication that you know of. That's how I found out about it. A friend of ours that's in federal prison right now sent me the picture. He was out at the time. Sent me the picture of Hobbs. I mean, everybody is laughing at this dude. He's meth, Xanax, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Mess with some dude's shed. Retired Marine Corps, holds him at gunpoint, gets arrested. Cop takes a picture, throws it up on his Facebook. The next thing you know, he's circling the globe. And I'm just telling you, dude, I mean, I got some of my highlight reel that I do not want going Facebook Live, okay? Meth will get you out there, right? And his, embarrassing moment is a, 30-something-year-old in an Avengers costume, out of his mind, is now being laughed at, not just hometown, whatever, but everybody is laughing at him. I mean, guys, a lot of us right now are dealing with the shame about stuff that you think that's happening. You think that they are talking about you, but you can't even prove it. They probably are. But I will tell you that it really was happening for him on the biggest possible scale that something can happen. And he's got to walk that out. He's got a girlfriend. When y'all come in here and y'all got a girlfriend that's still in active addiction, or you got a boyfriend that's still in active addiction, that's a hard hurdle to overcome. Because when you're sitting in here and you're thinking about your loved one that's out there getting high, like, she ain't at Bible study right now, okay? All right, and so you got to deal with all of that type of stuff and all the pressure, like, and just knowing what it's like to go through that. I'm just trying to tell you that there is every possible reason. So whatever your excuse is tonight on why you can't get it or why it's so hard or whatever, that guy had it. And here's what I watched him do, right? We go back and we look at these case studies. He had a girlfriend back there. He stayed here. How many months did you stay here before you went home? He stayed here 9 months. Now, I'm not saying that's the formula or whatever, but a lot of y'all, you're at 3 weeks in and you don't understand why you can't go back to your third cousin's wedding that's going to have an open bar. And you don't understand why that's not a good idea. This guy, 9 months, didn't see his family, over here in the city, wasn't making any money, over here doing the mission, doing the thing. And now he's on the other side of it. And now you look at him and you see the brand new truck. And you see the beautiful new wife that lives over in Milton and they got money coming out their ears. You know what I'm saying? Now you see all that stuff on this side of it. And you're like, oh, how that's not fair. That's not fair. And then you go back and you're saying, like, hey, are you willing to not go back to the place of bondage for 9 months so that you can know freedom, or whatever it takes is what it takes. Whatever it takes is exactly what it takes. That's what it takes. Look, I want God to heal you at the altar. I want him to heal you. And some of y'all, you don't need one touch. You need about 50,000 touches from the Lord, okay? And you need it inside of an environment of saying, man, I am going to stay put long enough, and whatever that looks like. And again, don't think I'm not trying to put a 9-month, but what I am trying to put on you is whatever it takes is exactly what it takes. Because whenever we start to do these studies and think like, man, why do we see these massive failure rates inside of addiction treatment? Why do the best modalities, still only produce a low percentage or what we might call a successful outcome? Is it because of, there's not enough information on it? Are there not enough doctors? Are there not enough, trained clinicians getting trained in the right way? Look, man, I'm telling you, I went through 10 treatment centers. I could have got clean on the first one. The little state-funded Harbor House in Tupelo, Mississippi. Everything that I needed was right there. But what I didn't have, I had an 18-year-old prideful little punk that thought that he was better than and thought that I knew better and couldn't get my mind around, this idea of sobriety, or I chose not to get my mind around this sobriety, and I went back and did it my way, and I fell on my face, because the common denominator is not the lack of programming or the lack of, dude, we hit this thing from so many different fronts now. Y'all come in and I think we have 7 nurse practitioners on staff. I think 5 of those are psych MPs. We have a psychiatrist on retainer. We have a medical director that was the director of addiction medicine at Georgia College down right outside of Augusta, that trained more physicians in the area of addiction medicine than anywhere on the planet. Sits on the board of ASAM, writes the stinking questions for ASAM. That's who y'all's medical director is. That's who's overseeing this entire medical thing. So there's a guy named Dr. Leland Burt. And so we're hitting it from that front. These programs that I was going to back in the day, somebody comes in now and your drug of choice is alcohol and benzos, then we know that you're probably self-medicating an anxiety disorder. And some of that stuff, you can't just go in there and pray it away. The deal is like, you have got to treat the anxiety disorder, or somebody has put you at a massive disadvantage to be able to walk into recovery. And so we hit it from that front. We've got real medical practitioners that are delivering those services, and that if you'll come in and not med seek, but actually give them the truth and be willing to say, hey, I want the solution to make sure that it sets me up for success, then we'll hit it from that front. And then we're going to have real clinicians. You know what I'm saying? Like, not some knucklehead that got 18 months clean over at AA and wants to come in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that there's any of that is wrong and that can't be helpful, but I'm talking, do you have any idea how long these clinicians go to school that y'all meet with? That y'all go in there and, probably, spend half your first session talking about nothing? I'm talking, they go to school longer than doctors go to school. And they go to school, they go their 4-year undergrad degree, and they get that. Then they go get their master's, and then they got to do thousands of hours before they can even sit and test to become, a licensed clinician. And so that's who, with real interventions that are specializing in a certain field. So whenever you're in there, take advantage of that. You know how much it costs to in private practice for you to go and sit down with a clinician of that caliber? A lot of money. Okay, you're lucky at $100, $150 an hour, if not more. Like, that's the caliber of person that is sitting in front of you. Take advantage of that. That's another front that we're hitting it from. And what it is saying, like, hey, if you've got, addiction can come in a lot of different ways. Okay. Some of you, it was a learned behavior. You guys have heard me talk about this before at some level. Some of you had massive trauma in your life. You were abused. You were neglected, whatever it may have been, and you had something. And so you might have stuff that's going on in your life that you can't talk about in a process group. It would not be appropriate for me to hand you a microphone right now and that you get gut level honest about whatever it was that was driving your addiction. That is what that clinician is for you to be able to process that, to get over that, to become a healthy way to be able to look at that so that you can get over it. So we're going to hit it clinically there with therapy, you know, and then we've got, and then we've got our group therapy, our process groups. We've got sober living. When y'all go back to sober living, that's all a therapeutic opportunity, if you will. You learn this stuff in theory in here. Philosophically, we're going to learn in here, okay? This is what I need to do whenever I get mad. This is whatever I need to do to be able to walk into long-term recovery. This is how I need to deal with conflict, et cetera, right? Well, guess what? I mean, I'm not going to be able to create the scenario in here. I'm not going to walk and bring all 400 of y'all up on stage one by one and offend you and be like, now what are you going to do? Right? So, but I can promise you between here and the time that you get back to your apartment tonight, you will get offended and you are going to be able to have the therapeutic opportunity to be able to run the play. So take advantage of that therapeutic opportunity to be able to run the play. And that's how you're going to be able to get well. That's how you're going to be able to get well. And so what I would say, look, man, I'm telling you, there are people right now. You know what kind of clinical work they had today? They got up, they did an hour of Bible study in the morning, and then they went out with a shovel or a sling blade, and they worked their stinking butt off all day long, you know what I'm saying, and built some 501c3 on their back, and then came home tonight and ate, you know, something from the food bank that was absolutely disgusting, and they went to bed. And that's there 1 year long, okay? So realize that we're hitting it on every front. And so then you got to ask yourself, why isn't it working? Pride. Pride. C.S. Lewis referred to it as the great sin, pride. Pride is why it doesn't work. Karen is going to call me when one of you knuckleheads relapses, okay? And she's going to be like, hey, why did my son relapse? I don't understand. I just, you know, do you think it was did? Do you think? I'm like, Karen, here's what happened. I told Leroy 17 times that when he has a thought about wanting to get high and decides to sit on that thought and meditate on that thought, if you don't confess that and get right, that thought is going to turn into a fantasy, and then that fantasy is going to go full-blown into action, and then Leroy picked up the dope and got high, Karen. That is what happened. And we told him 8 million different times, different ways that you have got to do that so that you don't go get high. And if you don't practice that right here, right on the street, couple miles this way, it's Gwinnett Stripers, okay? That is AAA baseball. That's pro baseball. Them boys is good, okay? They're real good. But they are a step away from going to the majors. When you get into the majors, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest superstar in the whole game. Anybody ever heard of Acuna? Played right field for the Braves. Strong player. I can't, there's another one, Travis D'Arnaud. Somebody help me out. Whatever his name is, played catcher. There you go. D'Arnaud. From San Diego. I met his family. I went down here. I left church one day and I went down there and I watched him play. And he had hurt his finger and they'd put him down in AAA ball. And he played down there, and then they brought him back up to the pros, and that was the year that the Braves ended up winning the World Series. You go right out here and get super close, pay $15 to get in, and whenever Acuna had gotten hurt, they dropped him back down to this AAA affiliate right down the street, and one of the greatest superstars in all of baseball was playing right out here as he was rehabbing, you know, his leg injury before they called him back up to the pros. And what I want y'all to understand is that this is like AAA ball right now. You were out there, you were playing in the league, and you had made some mistakes, and now you're here, and we've got to make some adjustments, okay? for you to be able to get back into the game, to be able to play. I mean, some of you need some massive work. Some of you just need some small tweaks. I mean, literally, you're sitting over here and you're just like, I don't understand why I keep getting high. Am I institutionalized? Am I the only way that I can make it is if I, stay inside? I know what it's like. I know the feeling when I'm in my 10th rehab and I'm like, dude, is this seriously the only way that I can live life? Is this the only way that I'm going to be able to live life is whenever I've got grown adults telling me when I can go to the bathroom, when I can smoke cigarettes? I went through a treatment that we had it called NAT. At Fairland Recovery Center in Dublin, Mississippi. NAT, nicotine administration time. I used to smoke cigarettes. They give me a little bag every day with 6 cigarettes in it. I had to walk 75 yards out to the gazebo so that I could smoke my cigarettes. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, my dad would show up for pass and he'd be like, man, you look like you ought to be working here. And I was crazier than anybody in there, but I could look like I should have been working there. I looked like I should have been clean, but I could not stay clean to save my life. Because I would normally get in there and I would meet some girl in group. And she was so hot. And she did heroin. And she'd been clean for 4 days. And I loved her. I loved her so much. Like, you're so pretty. We should be together. We're perfect. The way light hit your eyes when you were sharing about being dope sick made me so happy. It is so glorious. Yes. Yes. And we would get high together. I don't understand what happened. It's so crazy. Like, I'm sneaking over tonight because I love you. I loved her. None of those relationships worked out. It's so crazy. So bizarre. Look, man. I want to, I'm not a pastor. We call this thing Recovery Church because I want y'all to know that y'all belong in a church. Okay. I'm not, here to pretend like I'm somebody. I'm not. I don't have it all figured out, but I do know how to get people off dope. And Hobbs is celebrating 6 years. We're gonna go celebrate. I'm celebrating 12. And I'm excited about that, man, because it is a sometimes you just kind of take it for granted, but it's a big deal, man. I mean, even that y'all are here and have made it this far. I mean, I want you to understand. Yeah, I'm up here. I'm gonna yell at you. I'm gonna be in your face or whatever. But there's no armed guards that are holding y'all here captive. If y'all want to go get high, you can go get high. And you're here and you're fighting. And look, man, it's not always gonna be perfect. All right, it's not, man. And that's what you've got to learn. That even whenever it's not perfect, you've got to stay in the game, and the one area, man, where you cannot give in is picking up. And that has got to be a line in the sand, because if you pick up, everything falls apart. I mean, every single thing falls apart. And I want you to know that I'm aware of the mindset. I try to do it with humor, but the reality is like, look, there is nothing that I want more for you to have a fulfilling relationship. The people that used to run these treatment centers that I was in, and they were just like, they were just like rude about it. They would have the rules. They didn't understand. I didn't understand, like, why do the rules exist? Like, first of all, I just want you to understand, like you're not in trouble, okay? Like, you're not in trouble because you're here. I mean, we didn't sit around as a staff and be like, oh, just look at them. Just out there having all that fun, getting high, running around, just a bunch of criminals. Just can't wait to just create an atmosphere that is oppressive. Like, no, like, this is, you have to realize, like, you hired me, whether you understand it, but I want you to understand the relationship. You have hired me in Good Landing Recovery, a for-profit S corporation, and 112 staff to serve you. We are here to serve you to help save your life. Okay? We know what we're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Okay? So you've hired us to save your life. Doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you. It doesn't mean that I know how to do anything else other than I know how to get years. You know, and this is really important when you hear people talking about I want to just tell y'all about clean time, okay? I've celebrated 6 years. I'm celebrating 12 years. That is continual clean time from all drugs, okay? When I hear somebody say, I've been clean for 6 years from methamphetamines. I've been clean for 3 weeks from fentanyl, okay? Like, that is not real clean time. Yes, praise the Lord, whatever. But real clean time is that you are clean from everything. All right, that so just understand that it's important that you see it that way, and so we understand how to achieve that, and it changes your relationship with us. Is like, because if we all come in and we don't like authority, because authority typically wears a uniform, they have a badge, and they want to put us in jail for doing the things that we love, right? And so we have this idea that, oh man, it's the man trying to brainwash you and oppress you and hurt you and all this other stuff. And it's so crazy. Like, if you change your relationship, like, I'm not the man, I'm just like you, sat in those same seats, and now I know how to put days together in a row on how to beat this thing. I am here to serve you. I am not here to oppress you. If I have to offend you in the process, because you might not, man, just think about anything else that you've ever done. I think about Joe as a baseball coach, okay? If I hired Joe to teach me how to hit a baseball, okay? In my mind right now, I think I'm a good athlete. I could hit a baseball. I could probably hit it far. If Joe puts me under the microscope, I was joking around last night. Like, now I know where your kids get it from. You drop your back shoulder. I was playing around, and he can look and study my swing, and he will. If I have the wrong mindset, then it is going to be offensive to listen to him start to critique my athletic ability, okay? And the way that I do something. And he tells me, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then all of a sudden, if I want to fight with him, then I'm going to leave there still being a poor hitter because I did not listen to the coach, and I'm offended, and I end up walking away. And so, like I said, I am not trying to challenge you as a man. I'm not trying to challenge you as a woman. I'm not trying to challenge you in many areas that you're probably way more gifted than me. But what we do know is how to beat drugs and alcohol. That is what we know. And so you have hired us and this staff to be able to serve you in that. And when you can see it from that way, that should change the relationship. Okay? Not in this entitled way of, I paid money, I get to come here, I should be able to do whatever I wanted to do. No. You have hired us to be able to serve you in this. And what you've got to realize is that these destructive behavior patterns that you've got, you need somebody to take you out of the environment that you were in, or you would have got clean out there. How many times did you say out there, this is it, it's the last time? I mean, a lot of y'all flushed a lot of dope. Y'all flushed a lot of dope. You poured out a lot of alcohol. You made a lot of promises. You told a lot of people, hey, I'm never going to do this again. This is it. I am done. It ain't never happening again. And you had the best of intentions when you threw it out the window. You were dead serious when you did that, only to find yourself before the stinking sun went down that you were getting high again. And the best of intentions did not equate to the impact that you wanted to have, that you did not obtain the ability to sustain long-term change in your life. Okay? So that's how I want you to see us in this staff. Not as like some guards to make your life difficult, but to make sure that we create. All I'm trying to do, I know that I cannot force change in your life, okay? The United States military, as you just saw over in Iran just a few weeks ago, where we sent some of our bombers and went over there and did what only the U.S. military can do. You back it up a little further, you go back into 03, you go back into whenever we invaded Iraq. You got to think about this. These dudes were on their own soil. On their own soil, in Baghdad, in Fallujah, in all those cities over there. We went in on their own soil and shut them down, I believe, in 21 minutes. 21 minutes in their own backyard and shut them down. I mean, that's that's gangster, okay? That's serious, all right? I mean, I'm trying to think like, man, even in my own house, I would think that I could handle, maybe Gwinnett PD or something for 21 minutes if I'm locked down with all my guns. I'm like, we went into your own nation and in 21 minutes, shut it down, shut you down, okay? Amen, praise the Lord, love the United States. Now, here's what I want you to understand, that with all that modern warfare and all that weaponry and all of the force of the United States military, we still could not change the condition of the heart, okay? So what I want you to understand is, I know that I cannot change you. I cannot put enough policies in place. I cannot come at you and yell at you, whatever it is. But what we can do is create the atmosphere, slow down the tempo, and then give you the information in a way that you can receive it, and that hopefully that you would take it and then say, I'm going to apply it in my life. And then you will see change. You will see transformation. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. Okay? Now, the biggest thing, and this is what we're focusing on as a company, some of y'all that are in leadership right now, there are 2 books that we want you to read. Both of them are by Patrick Lencioni. One of them is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and the other one is The Ideal Team Player. Okay? So there's a thing that we do that happens in this church, and it's called Wellspring. Okay? It's this phenomenal retreat, and it's where I've talked with y'all sometimes that you've heard me talk about, that God has a big plan for your life, that you have a part to play in the story. You guys remember some of this framework? You have a part to play in the story. It is yours and your responsibility alone to make sure that you are there. Okay? That you don't get, there's a real enemy that's trying to pick you off right now. He's trying to get inside your head. He's trying to get you to go back and get high. He's trying to get you to throw the towel in. He's trying to get you out of good landing recovery. That's what the enemy's number one goal is. If I'm the devil right now and I'm looking at 400 drug addicts out here, and I know, and I'm saying, hey, I want to destroy your life, the biggest thing that I can do is to pull you outside of this program, because I know outside of this program that your chances go down to almost zero for your ability to be able to stay clean. So the enemy is trying to pull you out of community. That is what the enemy wants to do. So he can get you to throw in the towel, get you mad enough, get you offended enough, whatever it might be, to pull you out of community, and then you are going to fall apart. All right? So, the enemy is trying to get you out of here, trying to get you to fall apart, okay? And so the framework goes on to say that the way, or God's vehicle of protection, does anybody remember this? Community, okay? So when you get out of here, I wrote all my notes on my laptop, and I do it in notes, and it should have showed up in my phone. It's not synced. It's not on my phone, so you guys are just getting get what I remember of this thing. So there is a community. Whenever you get out of here, there's going to be all different types of, when I say community, that means teams. So any of y'all are going to play church league softball. Any of y'all are going to go to small groups. Any of y'all are going to be a part of a work team. You're going to have a church family. All these words get used kind of interchangeably as we think about the different expressions of community. And so the opposite of addiction is connection. And then connection is going to happen inside of community. Now, this is where I was going back with Hobbs, is whenever we start to look at this stuff, some of y'all look over here and you're like, oh man, Billy Bob, he is so nice and everybody loves him and he is so good at all this. I'm over here and I'm mean and nobody likes me and I'm, whatever it is. And you just think like, oh, Billy Bob was blessed with, no, if this person now is inside of community and they're flourishing inside of community and you are not, then let's look at their life and see what are those characteristics. Trey, what are those characteristics? I want to be good in community. I am so glad that you asked that because I know what they are. And it's so important inside of any team, whether it be a basketball team, whether it be a work team, whether it be a football team, whether it be a church, whether it be anything else. Patrick Lencioni has defined them inside of this book called The Ideal Team Player. Look, I'm just telling you, this is how this stuff works, okay? This is how the Golden State Warriors took down LeBron James, all right? This is how teams that weren't good enough, that are undersized, and that they don't necessarily have the superstars that somebody else might have, that Patrick Lencioni has figured out and has cracked the code on what are the characteristics of the ideal team player. So if you're going to be inside of community, guys, this is what you need. This is what we need to be able to win as a team, and this is what we need to be able to win inside of community, what you're going to have to embrace and to be able to apply so that you can function, okay? Here they are right here. The first one is hungry, okay? The first one is hunger. Hungry. What does hunger look like inside of Good Landing Recovery right now that you're in here, okay? When you think about it inside of the workplace, what does hunger look like? It looks somebody that is going to be a self-starter. When I'm looking for somebody that I'm going to raise up into our leadership team, I'm not looking for somebody that goes rogue, but I am looking for somebody that wants to work, okay? Let me tell you something. I like to work. I love to work. I work 24/7. People are like, you need to go chill out. No, I like to work. I thrive off of it. I think there is a place. I don't know how to turn it off and delineate and all this other stuff, and that's fine. People spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. I like it. I enjoy it. I do work that is meaningful to me. I think that's a big part of it. Probably if you had me out there doing something that wasn't meaningful to me, I'd probably have a different experience. I'd have some different way, but I enjoy working. And you know what? I like being around other people that like to work just as hard and that are just as passionate about the same things. I like it, right? So what they're saying is that one of the biggest things you're going to look at is hunger. Now, we're all going to have different expressions of what hunger is. Some people don't like to work like I do, but they're still hungry. They still want to do that. But what we're looking for is saying, hey, are you, like if you're a therapist and you're a clinician, are you getting better? Are you trying to get more certifications? Are you trying to read more articles? Are you trying to meet with more people to figure out how can I be better at intervening into a drug addict's life to be able to drive real recovery in there? I'm looking to see, are you improving? I've always wanted to be the best in the whole world. This is not hyperbole. Like when I was out there and I was doing street ministry and I was out there going and talking to drug addicts and stuff like that, I remember telling the Lord of saying, hey, if anybody ever loses a kid or they got a kid that's out there doing drugs or doing whatever, I remember saying I wanted to be the absolute best in the entire world at going to that. He said, that's right. I know it's not a contest. I know it's not. That's just how I thought. I wasn't competing with anybody. I just said that if somebody was out there and they were struggling, that if I had to go, you want to know what? I've done a lot of interventions. I've lost one intervention. Out of all the interventions I've done, I've had one that did not come to treatment. And you want to know why they didn't come? Because I told the mom the play that we were going to stink and run, and that when it came time to drop the hammer to make sure that the kid came, the mom didn't have the backbone to run the play that she had already agreed to before I ran the intervention. And that is the only kid that did not end up in treatment because of that particular reason right there. And I'm not trying to say that, that it is whatever you see what I'm saying? But the point that I'm trying to make is not pointing people back to me, but to show hunger, okay? This isn't a mistake what I'm doing up here. I didn't say like, oh man, I think you make some money in treatment. That's not why I'm up here. This is nothing but the expression and just the natural course of what I gave myself to, and it was a skill set that then translated, into what is before you today. Whatever it is, do it with all of your might and stay hungry. Right now, if I'm you right now, you need to be learning about your addiction. Yes, you got 90 days before it's over. You know how fast that's going to go? Some are like, 90 days, a life sentence. Oh, 90 days to go so stinking fast, make your stinking head spin. And when you get on the other side of 90 days and work and all the pressures of life comes, do you know what I would give right now to have 90 days? Do you know what I could do if I could just unplug and go out in the woods somewhere with a bunch of books, or I could go to some seminar like this where I could think about myself all day, every day, and reinvent myself? Do you know what I would give to be able to do that? To go and sit with thought leaders and people and experts in a field that I was interested in, that was going to take me to the next level. If I had some of y'all are like, I can't get out of here fast enough. I would kill to have 90 days to go and reinvent myself. And that's what you've been given on a silver platter. I know it might not be of the best circumstances, but God gave you one of the greatest gifts that you can ever get and gave you 90 days of uninterrupted time. No matter how you got here, that you get to think about your life, and you can get as full of God. You can get as much information on addiction. You got therapists and nurse practitioners at your disposal to be able to meet with and to sit there and focus on these issues that have been causing and wreaking havoc in your lives forever. It is an unbelievable gift that you have. All right? So you have this gift of time to be able to be as hungry as you want to be. Or you can stay in here, not be hungry, talk about your stupid stories, talk about how much dope you did, talk about how stinking cool you were when you were 3 sheets to the wind or whatever it was, and leave here sicker than you showed up. Right? So that's what hunger is going to look like in here. I mean, I would be consuming everything that I could and focusing, because look, man, I know you got to have a job. I know you got this. I know you got that. But if you don't get this right, you don't get nothing right. Because you're not even going to be present in your own life for all the rest of these things that you want to figure out. The money is going to figure itself out right now. Don't let that drive you. I am telling you, I've buried myself. There's a place over here, 1625 Collins Hill Road. Y'all are in a 24/7 house of prayer. When I came off and I was at meth-induced psychosis, I sat in this 24/7 house of prayer, and I paced these floors, and I sat in here until God healed me and restored my sanity. That's what I did. And I wasn't thinking about that. My family was like, you need to go get a job. I am telling you, y'all know how I live. I like making money, and I think I know how to make money. All right? And I set that, and I put all that stuff on the shelf, and I said, if I don't get this thing right, then I don't get anything right. Okay? That's the way you got to attack this. God will speed up the money. If I watch another person blow out of here, $25 an hour, I got to get this. Dude, stop. If I get up here and showed you, if I just got up here and ran a spreadsheet and I said, I don't care what you're making. I don't care if you can go back and make 6 figures right now, 7 figures right now. If you can go back and do that, if you don't get this right, you're going to blow all that money anyway. You're probably going to end up in jail. You're not going to be able to spend it. You're going to be in the hospital, whatever it is. But if I tell you, I said, hey, man, go get me $30,000 cash. Bring it to me right now, and I'm going to give you back $2.5 million over the next 15 years. There's not a person in here that you get yourself around that math. Ain't nothing out there that's paying that kind of return on any kind of stinking money. I'd go steal from my grandmother to get that deal to make sure that I got that kind of return. And I am telling you that 90 days and whatever little bit of money that you've had to give to be inside of here, the dividends and the money that you're going in the net profit that you're going to be able to receive as a result of that is like you can't even get your minds around. Like, it is a deal that you absolutely cannot you cannot pass on. You can't walk away from a deal like that. Does that make sense? Are you getting your minds around like what this is? I mean, I just want you to understand, like if I show it to you on paper, pull everything out of it, we just start running numbers. I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever to not get it right. Not blow out of here prematurely. Some of y'all would be better off saying no to a six-figure job, saying yes to $35,000 a year, because I promise you, if you stay clean in the $35K a year, that you're still going to have a higher net worth than if you run out of here chasing that's going to burn down anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like stop letting that be the driving force in your life. You know, and you'll find out that you'll get it all if you get the foundational piece right. Okay, next is going to be humility. I'm going to hit these other two real quick and get out of here. Humility. That's what I talked about earlier. Pride is why people don't get it right. I mean, this thing is not rocket science. Getting clean is not rocket science, but it does take humility. It does take humility. I don't like confessing when I'm wrong. That's not like necessarily in us. I don't like, letting go of things that, I feel like are the best way and having to listen to somebody else. I mean, none of y'all would have just thought like, I need to go away for 90 days. Like if you're in here, a lot of y'all are like, dude, give me the pill, give me the manual, and let me get back to my life. Give me the pill, give me the manual, give you a little speech. Yeah. I'm out of here. But all the data says the longer that you stay in the environment, that your chances of long-term recovery go up exponentially. That's what all the data says. And there's something about being in the environment, about being in a safe place and slowing down the tempo of your life and changing all of this so that you can be transformed if you take advantage of the time. So then there is the humble part of saying, I'm going to submit to a process. I'm going to submit to a process that I might not fully understand, that I might not fully agree with. Some of y'all are sitting here like, I think it's dumb. I've got, some of y'all have your own house sitting somewhere. Some of y'all can leave right now and go get a job and have a different type of life. And you're saying, man, I'm in community. I'm getting on a transit every day with 15 people. And it's frustrating at times. And it's hot. And they're mean. And whatever it might be. But you understand that the process is eventually, and you look around the room and you start to look at Stacy, you start to look at David, you start to look at Patrick, you look at Fariba, you look at all of these people that are in here whose lives have been changed. You realize, man, they submitted to that process, and now they are living a life today that is greater than the life that I'm living. So therefore, maybe I should submit to the process as well. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this one. He talks about the third characteristic of the ideal team player. Smart. And what he's not talking about is being the most, the smartest. Is like you're. He's not talking about intellectual. That you are your intellectual superiority to everybody else. That's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is being socially smart. Of saying, hey, how can I integrate with the team and not go in and blow it up? How can I go in and bring something and add value to the team in a way that is going to make the community better, that they're going to respond to me in a way. I've had people tell me before, like, hey, I'm rude and I want to be true to myself because that's who I am. Okay, look, man, I get we all have different personalities, but you've got to learn how to be smart in social situations so that you don't blow them up. Dude, if somebody wants to get the best of me, if you want to learn from me, then I would expect that whenever you come and sit down at my desk or you're talking with me, that you're not going to come in there and say something offensive and blow it up. You probably wouldn't want to lie to me. You probably wouldn't want to come in there and get in my face and, tell me why you think my purple jacket looks ugly. That's probably not a good idea if you want to get the best out of me, even if you believe that my purple jacket is ugly. Okay? That's fine, but I probably wouldn't lead with that if you were trying to get me to teach you about real estate, or you're trying to get me to teach you about treatment, or you're trying to get me to whatever. I had a guy that I used to fly with all over the country, and I had so much honor and I had so much respect for him. And as a result of that, and I worked hard and I made that joker a ton of money, and through those relationships that he would sit there and that he taught me about all these different secrets. And it was honor, and it was my ability to be smart in a social situation and to realize, hey, he's the leader. I want to understand what he's got. And I didn't do it in some manipulative way. It came genuinely of saying that, hey, this guy came from a different culture than me. He thought differently than a lot of ways, but I was so honored that I was in close proximity to him. And as a result, this guy taught me the secrets that are driving me today and that have ultimately helped produce the success in my own life. You got to learn how to be smart. We live in a different day today. It's a different day. It's a politically charged environment, a racially charged environment. And we've got to think about those things as we walk into social situations and how we're going to conduct ourselves and how we can still be passionate about our beliefs and what we believe, but then also not come in a way that turns the situation into something that is so volatile that we can't get any good from each other because we have some types of differences of opinion. And obviously we're doing a great job at that. Say we're all here tonight. I probably don't need to break this thing down and start pulling out different current events and going through those and teaching each other how to, y'all are doing the thing, but what we've got to do is to remove the dividing lines and saying like, hey, we might have some opposing beliefs, but then I can still walk into the situation so that we can function as a team, because community is just another way to say team, or I should say that team is just another expression of community. And so if we can get, these are the same three characteristics. When I'm interviewing somebody to bring them on staff, I am trying to see, man, are they hungry? Are they humble? And are they smart? Are they going to be able to work well with this team? Because I am telling you, we are fanatically committed to those things. And if you will embrace those, principles and understand that this community here, and that when you leave here, that you're going to be in another church family. And here's what I'm talking about, how it plays out practically. You guys might be here. We might think that you're the all-star, and you get up here and you get to share your story. Okay? Look, I have a gift. I can speak. I can lead. I can whatever. And it's proven. It's not just in my head. It's proven. Okay? If I leave here today and I go show up and I walk into another church, on my first Sunday, I don't walk in there and be like, hey, when are you going to give me the mic? I'm pretty good at this. I'm not going to say a word about that. I'm going to figure out what I can do to be able to serve and add value, and that at some point somebody's going to figure out that I can add some value somewhere else. But I'm not going to go in there and be like, hey, does that make sense? There's just a way that you're going to come and you're going to add value, and that through relationship, and then you're going to come up those types of ways. Same way that you're going to come up through Good Landing if you choose to do the leadership program and you decide, hey, I want to come on staff. Those are going to be the characteristics that we're looking for. Can you go in there and not blow up a situation? Are you going to be able to add value? Hungry, humble, and smart. Lencioni wrote the book. It's going to be super important as you engage all these different expressions of community as you leave here. And that is what is going to allow you to be able to integrate. Because if you come in and you're always coming in on level 10 hot, what you're going to find out is that people are going to reject that. That might have made you the coolest guy in the school back in high school. You might have been the quick-tempered, you fight, you the coolest, you whatever. As we get older, we don't like that mess anymore, okay? Adults don't like that. You might have scared some kids or something like that back in the day, but we don't like that. And if you're going to integrate inside of community, then these principles right here are going to allow you to flourish inside of community and have an incredible experience. And as I went through them, there's all these areas where you can look at your life and say, man, am I not displaying enough hunger? Do I need to be spending more time in prayer? Do I need to be spending more time trying to figure out like what these areas are that are going to make sure that I enter into long-term recovery? Am I not being humble enough? Am I being prideful because, I've been through a bunch of treatment centers and I think I already know everything? Am I walking into social situations and saying inflammatory things inside of my apartment that is causing disunity instead of bringing people together? I mean, look, man, you've got people in here that might not be the coolest, but I promise you, if I find out that you're making them the brunt of your jokes, that you're over here making life difficult, you know how hard it was for y'all just to get up in here? I mean, and some of these people that are in here, this is their last shot. Either they get it right here or they die of a fentanyl overdose. Period. You'll be the first one on social media. Man, I can't believe it's so sad. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're the one that helped push them out. You're the one that made their life so stinking difficult while they were here. Bullied them whenever they were in their apartment. Made life so difficult. Think about that, man. We all know what that feels like. We've all been in a situation where we've been on the receiving side of that. There's nothing worse than feeling that type of way. How horrible would it be? And a lot of times, man, you're sitting around here and you don't see somebody for the value they are until they're gone, and you watch their 30 family members walk into that celebration of life service, and you realize at that point just how badly that you missed it and how valuable that they really were. So that's really all I got. Is the worship team still here? Are they gone? They are here? All right, we do this every week. We open up the altars. We're just going to do just for a little bit. The altars are always open. If you want to come tonight and pray and spend some time, the altars are open for anything. You want to rededicate your life, you need to give your life to Jesus, you need to just come up and just do business with God. It's open. Always a privilege to be able to serve y'all. I'm grateful for y'all. Y'all apply these principles, and we're going to see an amazing community here that is going to produce the results. How amazing would it be that 90, 100% of everybody that walks through the doors of Good Landing Recovery, it's like you go to Good Landing like you're getting clean. Like you go to Good Landing, you get clean. And we get community right, and then that's what's the byproduct of that is going to be people getting clean. All right, Lord, we love you, God. Thank you for tonight. We're grateful for the privilege and the honor to be able to gather together, Lord, in your presence. We love you. We trust you, God. We thank you, Lord, for all that you've done. Forgive us where we fail you, God. Help us.